I wish I could have said that this is some kind of, an odd incident, an exception, but the kind of incidents, the number of incidents which happen, makes one worry that it's not. What we are seeing is a trend. Annie Koshi is principal of St. Mary's School. Amita Vattal is principal of Springdale School, both top schools in Delhi. From Mumbai, we have Pooja Marwa. My first question is to Dr. Sonia Mehta, well-known psychologist. Tell me, Dr. Mehta, I see a number of incidents, right? Now, is it because the media is reporting it that we are trying to draw a trend? And have you heard of these instances before in this number that we have? Kidnappings, killings, stabbings, whatnot?
No, I don't think that I can really say that this has been something we have seen recently. But my fear is that this is only going to increase. Societal pressures on one hand, academic pressures, family pressure to succeed at all costs. And let's look at the role models that we have for these children. Violence pays, money, power, success at all cost.
Okay.
Nobody really is brought to book for incidents.
Yeah.
Where, these messages are actually coming from every
where does
sphere.
one get the values? I mean, where in our system, which puts so much pressure on academic results, where are the values being taught? Does that make a difference?
Well, they should be taught. They should be taught both at home and they should be taught in school. We in India seem to think, Indian values.
Yeah.
We take so much pride in our Indian values.
Yeah.
Well, what are those Indian values today, Arnab?
I don't know.
I think it's a question
In
that we all
urban India,
need to be asking ourselves.
I'd like to put that to Annie Koshi. These incidents keep happening. Are you worried as a principal when you hear about these incidents?
Yes, of course. One is extremely worried when one hears about such incidents. And one wonders what is to be done, because the education of a child is held in place by parents and society, and unless parents, society and school hold together, it's very difficult to hold a child in place and try and inculcate any values of any kind, whether Indian or otherwise. But since society and parents are, to my view, falling apart, it's sort of just seeping through one's hands, and more and more we find that parents do not stand up with the school when the school takes a particular stand, a disciplinary stand, a stand on the values that we uphold, like, say, no cheating, saying the truth, and actually facing up to consequences of bad behavior. But parents seem to feel that, this can be negotiated, and there's so much of talk of, sensitivity to children. I'm not saying do not be sensitive, but I think it's taken to an extreme, this whole issue of, how to deal with children, and consequently firmness is also seen as, too much of discipline. And children really do not know their boundaries now.
Is it also, and I want to caution tonight, we're not drawing generalizations. None of this is a generalization. I think, we have a fantastic young generation coming up, but is it also this quick and easy culture which has spread, Amita Vattal? As a principal, as an educator, I don't know if you heard this recent incident, the 1st of April, it came in Pune, where two boys, one 19, one 15, I think they kidnapped and strangled to death someone because they were inspired by villains in a TV serial. We heard that, right? And they wanted the money to enjoy a party. What does that tell you?
Firstly, I want my deepest condolences to someone who's a colleague of mine. And I think that today one of the most dangerous and unnegotiable spaces has become that of classrooms. And teachers are operating there with their hands tied behind their backs. Having said that, I'd like to say that there are sort of two levels. Whether it's a public school or a private school, there is a deprivation of a kind. In a public school, one sees issues where young people are pursuing brands over life, they're pursuing labels over life, and it's all become very integral to the way they look at things. in a government school or in a school where there aren't so many privileged people, they're so disempowered that there's nothing to pursue.
No, but
And
one
then
of our panelists
they
here,
look at the
Ms.
difference.
Wattal.
They look at the difference.
Ms. Wattal, just sorry, but while you were speaking here, Sonia came in, and I think Pooja would also like to come in on that.
I would just like to complete what I'm saying.
Yeah, please do.
I'd like to just complete this, and then they could come in. What I do want to say is that at both levels, the issue of violence comes in because violence has taken on routinization. And there's no hold bars. There are no hold bars on the scene of movies, on what happens in computers, on what happens on the net, on what happens in television. And so at both levels, there is a very, very complex and an extremely confused adolescence.
Yeah, but
who
who
doesn't know how
reforms?
to deal with things.
Who reforms?
No,
Do parents
the issue is
reform?
here- no,
does the school reform? Because this incident happened in Mumbai.
We're all stakeholders in this.
No,
We're all stakeholders.
no, Pooja.
You can't, there's no one person reforming.
Yeah, but there's a feeling among a couple of our panelists, or both our panelists in Mumbai, that schools need to take some more responsibility. And I'm actually getting worried in this that parents push it to the school. Super busy parents, busy with their own lives, say, we paid the money to the school. It's a contractual relationship. Let the school decide. And the schools say we cannot do anything till we have your participation.
You don't pay money for values.
You don't get money for values. No truer statement than that. Pooja?
If I look at this, the age group that we're talking about,
Yeah.
most of these children are clearly in that 15 to 18 stage, where a lot of people are confused about whether they need to be treated as children or not.
Or it does not say.
Whereas I'm sure my colleague here will agree with me that as developmental, they are still children.
That's true.
Having said that, they need to enter into this debate. I think children need all of us to be stakeholders. They need schools to take responsibility. They need counseling help. I mean, I know of extremely privileged schools. Yes, they may not be taking fees for values, but that may be the role of parents. But what about counseling help when there is bullying? Counseling help when teachers are... I know a lot of children who are driven to extremes because of competitiveness, because of how their teachers treat them when they are not doing very well. And we see a lot of pressure
But you
from
can't
the school. Everyone needs to be Einstein.
Can that justify extreme behavior? You want to push it back to Annie Koshi? You want to respond to that? That schools put so much pressure and that's also part of the problem.
It is.
Well, I mean, this question of pressure also needs to be discussed, I think. That, when we sort of say that because schools put pressure, then there is some kind of reason to be violent.